Hello guys, welcome to the LawPutra YouTube channel. Today's topic is malicious prosecution. It is the malicious institution of unsuccessful criminal or liquidation proceedings against another without any reasonable or justification. This tort balances competing principles, namely freedom that every person should have in bringing criminals to justice and the need for restraining the false accusations against the innocent persons. The elements of malicious prosecution are: number 1, institution of legal proceedings. There must have been a prosecution initiated by the defendant. The word prosecution means a proceedings in the court of law charging a person with. And the second is termination of the prosecution in the plaintiff's favor. The plaintiff must prove that the prosecution ended in his favor. He has no right to sue before it is terminated and while it is pending. The third is absence of reasonable or any justification. The number fourth is malice. That is the most important. Malice for the purposes of malicious prosecution means having any other motive apart from that of bringing an offender to justice. Malice means the presence of some other and improper motive, that is to say, the legal process in question for some other than its legally appointed and appropriate purpose. Anger and revenge may be a proper motives if channeled into the criminal justice system. We can see it in the case of Hicks versus Falcon. That was, the defendant has honestly and bona fidely initiated the prosecution. He was not liable even though, due to the defective memory, he had forgotten the true facts and has gone on with the prosecution. The number fifth is damages. It has to be proved that the plaintiff has suffered damages as a result of the prosecution complete. Even though the proceeding terminate in the favor of the plaintiff, he may suffer damage as a result of the prosecution. Now, we will be discussing some cases of malicious prosecution. The number first is Kamtaparsat versus National Building Corporation Private Limited. The manager of the respondent found certain articles missing while checking up with the stock register. The plaintiff was prosecuted under Section 403 of the IPC, but was given the benefit of doubt and hence acquitted. The plaintiff brought an action for malicious prosecution. The plaintiff could not prove that he had been harassed by the officers. There was held to be the reasonable and the justification for his case. So, the fact was that plaintiff was not harassed indicated that there was no malice and hence the charge was not liable. The second case is Girija Prasad versus Uma Shankar Patnaik. The plaintiff was an advocate in Madhya Pradesh. He was also a Jan Sangh leader and had started an agitation on the question of some social issue. One Jan Sangh worker had gone to a hunger strike. Girija Singh, a sub-inspector, was deputed outside the control of the crowd, and there was some bullet shot made from the gun of that sub-inspector. He stated that while he was grappling with some person who was assaulting him with the gun got fired mistakenly. On that day, Girija Singh had launched an FIR stating that he was assaulted by some person, his watch was snatched, and also the plaintiff Umar Shankar Pathak was present at the scene as and was instigating the crowd against him. The case was investigated and the plaintiff was arrested but released on bail. But after some days, he was finally acquitted. The plaintiff then sued four persons for malicious prosecution, the sub-inspector and the other ones. It was found by the Madhya Pradesh High Court that the report prepared by the Kamtaparsat was false, and at that relevant time the plaintiff was not present there. So, eventually, Kamtaparsat was held for malicious prosecution, but others were acquitted of the charge and not held liable for the malicious prosecution. The other one is State of Tripura versus Shri Hardhan Chaudhary. Forest officials filed cases against plaintiff for felling the trees without any evidence, but the plaintiff was acquitted and was rewarded rupees 25,000 for malicious prosecution. The next is Haitram versus Madhan Gupta. Plaintiff was maliciously charged by defendant for setting fire to his house. Plaintiff was acquitted and rewarded for rupees 55,000 for his mental problem, loss of business and litigation expenses. And the last one is A. Sharma versus P. Baba. Plaintiff accused for outraging the modesty of women on unfounded grounds. He was acquitted and the defendant was held liable to pay the damages. Hope you have understand the concept of malicious prosecution. Thank you.